So let's kick off. As said, today we're going to talk about SharePoint and OneDrive and specifically how that works within Office 365. My name's Tom Freer. I'm the Managing Director of Wyntec, and we specialise in doing Office 365 for customers along with all their support needs for IT. One of the things that has come out recently with our Office 365 rollouts is the ability to get more drive more value and get more productivity out of the entire solution. So Office 365 is more than just email, and we'll touch on that. But today I really wanted to focus on two of the big components of the platform that probably are well underutilised, and that's SharePoint and OneDrive. We'll look at some of the common challenges that these can address and some of the best use case scenarios. And then we're going to do a live demo, so we'll definitely have our fingers crossed for that, and I will show you a little bit about what SharePoint is if you haven't seen it before, just some basics around it and some of the basics around OneDrive and how you can start to use that within your business. So we'll get cracking. So what is SharePoint? So SharePoint, the best way I can describe it is a platform you can create websites for your team. So these are internal sites that you and your colleagues have access to, and you use it to securely store, share, and access information and data. So that information can be Word documents, Excel documents, PDF files, videos. It can be lists, it can be lists of contacts, it can essentially be anything you can think of. We can create forms. The beauty of the SharePoint platform is it can be accessed from almost any device and web browser. So not only can you use it on your desktop with IE or Chrome or Firefox, you can access it on your iPad or your iPhone and access all that same information. And that in itself is a big driver for productivity within the teams. SharePoint as a platform can be deployed in-house, so in your own network, or part of the Office 365 platform. Today we're specifically looking at it around Office 365. However, the features and functions are very, very similar for your internal deployment. So a bit more about SharePoint. It's an online storage and document collaboration suite. So as I mentioned before, you can store all of your documents online. They'll be centrally available. So SharePoint allows you to store all your documents online that make them centrally available for all your team. So you don't need a server. But you continue to use the products that you're used to, Word and Excel, all your Office products. You can easily collaborate with those documents in real time. So what that means is you could have a document open on your SharePoint site, and one of your other team members can have that same document open, and you can be editing the document simultaneously. So again, it's about getting access to that information when you need it and where you need it, and then having your team access that information as well. There's the Office Online suite that comes with it, so that's essentially Word and Excel and PowerPoint that can run within a web browser. So what this means is that you can access your documents even if you don't have Office installed on your machine. So you might be sitting in the Qantas Club, for example, on one of their PCs. You can log into your SharePoint site and you can open up your Word documents online securely in there, see what's going on. You can do basic edits in there. Obviously you don't get the full feature set, but it's quite comprehensive. You can extend that out and build a full company intranet. So it might have document folders, knowledge base articles, create announcements that go out to your team, tasks, workflows, and heaps more. So it's essentially a platform where you can start to do a lot of different things. So it allows you to store all your company documents up there. It's a change of mindset, and it changes your workflow and your business process a little bit from your traditional file server access that you're used to with a map drive. But the ability to access that data from anywhere makes it a really good value proposition. You can engage with your team. Your team can get access to information much more easily through really powerful search functionality and visibility as to who else in the organisation is using what type of documents and what type of data. So again, it's building that collaboration platform. And another great function of it allows you to build out sites that you can share data and information to your customers and partners and vendors securely. So again, a central point, you could create a dedicated partner site, and you can upload documents that your partners can then log into to see. You can share out individual documents, you can share out individual or full sites. So lots and lots of flexibility around what you can do with it. And we'll touch on that. I'll go through some of the features in our live demo. So just a quick picture there, which I'll show you in more detail, but that's a very quick snapshot of our internal team site here. So again, that's from our perspective, our team live and breathe on this all day, every day. All our documentation's up there, all our customer information's up there, proposals, all the bits and pieces that we need to collaborate. We're a highly mobile team, so having that information accessible is really beneficial. So the other big component, and it sort of goes hand in hand with the SharePoint, is the OneDrive for Business. So you may have heard or seen OneDrive. So Microsoft currently have essentially two platforms for this. They have their OneDrive and the OneDrive for Business, which is included as part of Office 365. So the OneDrive is your typical consumer version of the platform, and the OneDrive for Business is focused at the corporate and comes part of the Office 365. So it may, in previous incarnations, it was known as SkyDrive. Microsoft have since rebranded and repositioned for various reasons, but what it is the idea behind it is for use for storing your personal data and making it available online across multiple devices. So the premise behind the OneDrive platform is about what you do as an individual, what you're working on, and what you need access to. So its primary function is around syncing that data to your machine or to your devices as you need it. So it allows you to get mobile with your data and have that offline version. What it doesn't do, and where the differences are, really come into the SharePoint, the OneDrive. OneDrive, as I said, is very personal focused. The OneDrive for Business allows you to store unlimited amount of data online. SharePoint is for your team collaboration. So anything that you want your team to access or have multiple people accessing, then you would be using SharePoint for that data. For stuff that you're using yourself or you want to share with a limited number of people, whether they're internal or outside of the organisation, you use OneDrive for that. So we'll run through that in a little bit more detail as well. So OneDrive, again, here's a quick snapshot and picture. You can see that OneDrive for Business will sync up and look just like Windows Explorer on your desktop, your Windows computer. And then you've also got that same data accessible online through the web browser. So what is Office 365? Just to recap, Office 365 is the entire suite. So when you hear about Office 365, that is including your email capability, your instant messaging and video conferencing capability, also the SharePoint and the OneDrive functions. It then includes your Microsoft Office for your desktop, whether that be PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, whatever it is. So that's the full suite, and SharePoint and OneDrive are a key feature of that platform. So one of the things we do come up, and it's a great question, is what about Dropbox or Google Drive? Where do they fit in, and what are the key differences? So Dropbox and Google Drive, much like OneDrive and OneDrive for Business, are really great tools for personal storage where you're the primary person using that data. So it's a single point of truth. You can choose who you sync that with, who you share that with, what devices you put that on. You're the one controlling that access. What's inherently a challenge in any of these products, be it Dropbox, Google, or even OneDrive, is sync problems. So syncing by nature has challenges. So having data stored on multiple devices, being moved and synced between online and offline can cause issues with document conflicts, version control, and as I said, all this applies to OneDrive as well. Where SharePoint comes in is that data isn't necessarily synced anywhere. It is online. It's a single copy online that's accessed online all the time. I think I said online enough there. But that's probably the key difference to understand between the two platforms, is that OneDrive, Dropbox or Google Drive, is primarily focused at that your personal ability to access your data and have that accessible and synced up on multiple machines. SharePoint is about your team, about your community or the collaboration amongst that data, making it accessible, and then driving other functions and features around that, such as workflow, list, project tracking. All sorts of different functions can be driven out of SharePoint. It's more than just a file repository, whereas OneDrive and the other platforms are very much focused on file storage. So that's the key sort of drivers there. So if we recap across it, SharePoint should be looked at as your collaboration tool, single point of access for all your team. So putting up documents that need to be accessed by everyone, whether they're starting off with things like templates and policies and procedures, customer information that everyone can have access to. OneDrive is about personal storage, so storing data that you're going to use, that you're going to need access to. You still have the ability to share that with others, and you control who you share that with, but that is the key difference in the platforms. So, and it is something to be mindful of. Whilst OneDrive is very familiar in its look and feel, your traditional Windows Explorer interface, going in using your Windows tools and accessing it just like you access your My Documents and things like that. It's very easy to think that's the simple way to approach how we're going to share data within our organisation. And as you try and scale that with having multiple people accessing it and syncing that data across multiple machines, you start to run into a lot of problems. SharePoint alleviates all that by having everything as a single point of contact. One file, one version, everybody working on it, and that's the key difference. Within the platforms, you have the ability to do, it's doing version control in itself, so we'll have a look at that in a minute, which is coming up right now, which is our live demo. So bear with me, and I'm going to attempt to do the unthinkable on a webinar and do a live demo. So hopefully now you can see my test SharePoint site up here on the screen. You can see what I'm about to do. So what we have here, this is your SharePoint site. So you would consider this your go-to point. So as you deploy Office 365, the main focus in the deployment strategy is around email and getting people moved across and online to that new platform and working with that. So what tends to get missed then is this SharePoint aspect. So what we're doing is working closely with customers now to look at areas where SharePoint can be leveraged to improve productivity, improve access to data, all those little things to get as much value as possible out of that platform. If you've bought Office 365, you have access to this in most of the plans, so we can certainly look and discuss that. But what we have here is we've got a very basic site, not much happening on here at the moment, but we're using this. We've created some custom functions where we can create our customers, bit of like a customer list with document access to all these customers. So this will open up and we can see we've created a very familiar looking environment with a document structure and then access to our documents in here. So we can see their Word documents. We can very quickly add new documents straight into here. And you'll see here we can very quickly view these documents either by hovering over our little menu item. Then we get a very quick view of what's going on. So you can see how quickly it is now to start finding the data that you need to work on without having to browse through, open up multiple documents and browse and those type of things. So we can hover over. We can even quickly open this document with a single click into Word Online. So we've now opened this document. We're able to see this is a read-only view to start with, but very quickly we can edit the document. So we can either edit it in full Word that's on our machine, or we could do some quick changes right here using Word Online. Now the beauty of this is that as you're typing, it's saving. So we can see what's going on, what's happening, and we know it's saved. If someone else was to come and start editing this file, then we would be able to see them come online, and I'm going to test that right now for you to see if it's going to work. The beauty of a live demo. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll show you. So we can see here now that someone has just come online. Damien's helping us out here, that he's just come online and he's going to start typing something into that document. So there we go. We can see Damien working on that same document as us in real time. He can't type very well. But this is the power of the SharePoint Online. So online with the Word, this is the same for Excel and your other tools. And this functionality and feature is being driven out into the new versions of Microsoft Office. So 2016, which has just been released, you can now do this with the full version of Word as well. So you can see that the power in what happens with the when you start to leverage these tools. So think about a scenario where you're running a tender for an organisation and you've got multiple people providing input to that document. You now don't have to have that document email circulated and try and remember who's got the latest version. You don't have to be doing your detailed track changes and who's doing what and comments all over the place. Multiple versions floating around, so everyone can be working on the same document in real time and get things done. So, and again, this is all saved straight away. So if we needed to do something more advanced, we can obviously open this now in Word, and it's going to launch a full version of Word on one of my screens. Somewhere. So we now have this full version of Word, and we can see that Damien's still in there doing work on that document. We can quickly see here that there's 2 authors working on it. So we have complete visibility. Unlike your traditional sync version of a document where, whether in OneDrive, for example, you don't know who's actually working in that document at any one time. So what that means is someone could be working in the same document, and once you both save it, you're going to end up with a version conflict. So we'll just drop out of here. We'll return back to our site. So just think, I mean, that's Word, Excel. It doesn't matter what you're working in. As I showed before, you can easily and quickly create new documents. So we've just now created a new Excel file. Yep. We're going to stay on this page. And we want to give this a new name. There we go, we've now got our new Excel file. We can again easily edit that just by clicking on it. It'll bring it up in our read-only view, and then we have the ability to edit in Excel and edit in full Word, so Excel, sorry. So again, this will just open up my version of Excel somewhere on another screen. And my maths is fantastic. There we go. So again, we've now saved that. Now, one thing to note is when you are opening these documents in a full version of the product, it's not going to save automatically unless you've got your auto-save features, but always save your documents in that respect. But that's how simple it is to start working around and distributing and managing data within the environment. So that's the basics around a SharePoint document management component, a document collaboration. We can see that it's doing full version control, so we can see version history on these documents. So we can see when they were last modified. We can restore back to a previous version simply by clicking on it, and that will open up that previous version of the file so we can see what's going on. So as people are editing it, SharePoint is automatically creating versions, and we can see here we've got a compare or a restore function. We can very easily start to see and compare what the differences are between the documents. So if someone's made a change to your your customer presentation that you're doing in 5 minutes and it just doesn't look right, you can always go back to that previous version, see what's been changed. It's all there ready to roll, so it's great in that respect of what it can do. We don't want to save that, we'll just get out of here. So you'll see we've got a link to a file. So every document has its own hyperlink. So instead of emailing attachments around now, we can email hyperlinks to our team so they can directly jump onto that file and see what's going on. We can easily share out with our team. And I can't type. And we can define whether you can just edit or view. So if this site was configured for the ability to share to external parties, and that's a security setting that's managed within the back end, we could be typing this to any email address and sharing that document out to those people. So they can then log in and access that document and edit it, or just view it, or whatever permission you've set on that. So we can then easily see who it's already shared with. And then if there are any pending requests for someone to look at that as well. So we've got some pending requests for different documentation there. So what else can SharePoint do? So if we go back, we can see we're using this like our little team intranet site. It's very easy to build out base functions in here and then build automation in it as well. So that requires a little bit more development and thought behind it. But just like creating a folder structure and those type of things, we've built some little tools around creating documentation. So within our test lab here, we do, obviously part of our work is project management and coordination, so we like to be able to track all our projects and have them centrally stored. So in this instance we're creating a new project and it's for customer ABC. We want, so this is a little custom little app that we've developed to allow the auto creation of a standardized folder structure. So we're just going to save that. And in the background, and hopefully my test environment does work, the system is going to create our folder structure for us for this project. So we can see now we can start building out a list of all our projects. We'll be able to see who they're assigned to. And then ultimately, this should build out a folder structure. So we can see here our automation is working. It's creating the folders. And we could be adding more and creating it and building it out. And we've done similar for when we're creating customers. So we can look at the ways to best manage information and data within the environment, design little productivity improvements and enhancements just to make things consistent and to make sure they're easily set up with as little manual handling as possible. So if we just refresh this, still creating. If we jump into our project documents here, we should be able to start seeing the new project structure being created. And create folder is complete with a link directly to that folder structure. So we can see here it's been very easy. We haven't had to really show anyone how to copy folders or create folders or define that. We've defined it once. We've created a process and a workflow within SharePoint which automatically creates our folder structure for us. And now we're away, we can start creating whatever we need to do. If we wanted templates as part of our build out, we could be having templates within this folder structure as well. So it's really only limited by your imagination, for lack of a better word. We look at the workflows and the processes within your business and how we can make them more efficient and automate those components so you get consistency throughout. And the other aspect of SharePoint, so this is what we're calling lists. So these are lists and document sets. We can create subsites, so we can have dedicated sites for different business units or departments, for different teams, for projects, for customers. So internally for us, each one of our customers has their own site, so it allows us to do a lot of different features within each of our customers, so we know what's going on, and helping us collaborate a lot more. But we can see here it's very really as well quite easy to edit our SharePoint layout and look and feel of what's going on, so we can add some information. So when we come to our site, we now have, that could be a logo. We can easily change logos, we can change branding, we can change colors. So again, it can all be edited quite easily. We can create different what we call web parts or web apps in here. So we've got proposal folders, but we might want to create, okay, so we've got a task list. We've already got one here. So we can create tasks. So this could be related to projects or internal functions or to-do lists or whatever it is that are shared amongst the team. And again, these are all customizable, so you can add fields and different requests, drop downs. You can link lists, similar to what we did on that projects one where we linked to our customer list, so we can start having references between different data within the environment. So we now have a task list, but wouldn't it be good if we could see that task list on the home page? So when you first log into your team site, we can see what tasks are assigned and ready to go. Now it slows down on me. And we have, there we go, we're back. So we'll just do quickly, we might want to edit the page. We might want to insert our task list somewhere, so we're going to insert our app, and we're going to find our task list, and we want to drag that down to there. I think I just created the wrong one, but you get the gist. Let me try that again. Tasks. There we go. So we've added our task list to our homepage, and it's just as easy to remove that from the homepage. And this is all obviously driven by permissions and who has access to do that function in the environment. So now on our homepage, we've very quickly added our task list. So that could be an announcements or a company events. It's just a matter of thinking about what information you want to start getting out to your team and leveraging within that environment. So that's the very basics of SharePoint. And I'll quickly jump over and just show you the OneDrive functionality. So up here in our office environment, we can see all the different apps that we've got available to us in OneDrive. I'm not going to go through all these today. We'll certainly run some more events around these, but OneDrive is the one that we're going to look at. So this is taking to my personal OneDrive. So as I mentioned earlier, OneDrive, you can store unlimited amount of data on your OneDrive online. So it allows us to, so this is the folder structure. We can see I've got my documents in here. I'm opening them in the same way. It's opening it in Excel online and Word online. We've got that same feature set that we had in SharePoint. We've also got our version history, which I have none, I don't think, on that one. Oh, I've got a little bit. We've got our version history. So all that same features and functions within that OneDrive online for your personal data is available. I suppose some of the key things are around the ability to share. So we can share this, and we can automatically share out to external people. Review this. That's because I'm in my own address book, but that would go in. We can require them to sign in, and it would send an email invitation. Now the sign-in function is a Microsoft requirement, so either the end user would have an existing Office 365 account, or they would have a Microsoft account, so they would have a Hotmail account or something like that. If they have neither, it's very, very quickly during that invitation process, very quick for them to sign up with a Microsoft account to get them access. And that just ensures that you have visibility as to who has the files, and you can then control and remove them very, very easily from that permission set. So we can see there, we can easily download those files, we can move them, we can rename them, different details. So we can see it's brought up a summary page on the right hand side there. So that's the OneDrive. Now what you will see is that this is obviously, I have this synced up to my local machine, so my OneDrive for Business, and my folder. So this is my traditional Windows Explorer view, and I have the same files. So I might want to open up my demo document. So this is obviously going to open it up in my local version of Word. This is version 2, and we might want to save that as a new file. Save that into the same folder. So we now have our second document here, and this will then sync up to my OneDrive online. It should be quite quick, so we will see what's going on, if it's going to do it. And there we go. So we now see it's on my online view very, very quickly up there. And now I can access it anywhere. So again, I could be on my OneDrive app on my iPhone or my iPad, and I can view all that documentation. There's been some great enhancements to the OneDrive app to allow you to view and annotate PDF files and add notes and comments. Obviously you can use your Word and Excel on your iPhone and your iPad or your Android and edit those documents and have great visibility to them. And that also applies to your SharePoint. So that feature and function is there for SharePoint as well. So the beauty of all this is that that documentation is available anywhere that you are. Essentially your office is where you are. And that's really the driver behind these technologies is about making sure you and your team are more productive and more efficient, and ultimately driving a better business. So that is my demo for you guys on OneDrive and SharePoint. and surprisingly happy that my live demo worked well. So that's Office 365. So a big part of our function is delivering those Office 365 solutions. We're seeing lots and lots of organisations now transition to that cloud and really start to look at how they can get more out of it. And moving to the cloud and educating your team is all part of that process. So it's about enabling. That's essentially what it is. So today we've just touched on SharePoint and OneDrive, and over the next whiles, the next weeks and months, we'll start to put together some additional content specifically around our Office 365, how you can start to use it, the different tools that are coming out. There is a lot of features in there, so we'll run through those. But if there's anything particular that you're asking for, please email me. But today we've got a bit of an offer. So we know that working with these, not only Office 365 but other aspects of the cloud, we can really start to improve your business's productivity. So we're keen, and I'm keen to meet with anyone who's not using Office 365, who may want to look at where it can be utilised within your business, or even those customers who are using Office 365. I'm always here, so we're happy to have those conversations anyway. But if that's something that interests you, just sing out and let me know. But that's today's webinar on SharePoint and Office 365. Just like to thank you all for joining me and look forward to talking to you soon. I did remember to record this today, so once I've compiled it all, I'll get a link out to everyone, so you've got that info there if you need it in future. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to shoot them through. I'll hang around for a little bit longer. But other than that, thank you for your time and speak to you soon.